Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal. Yes, guys. Welcome back to my channel. In case it's your first time, my name is Nkem and I talk about fit, fashion and lifestyle. But today we're learning how to make this particular collar. It's popularly called the high collar or the built-up collar or the swan neck. So whichever one you call that, we'll be learning how to draft that today. So I know that interests you, so stay tuned, learn, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. So for my previous tutorial, we already drafted the pattern or the basic bodice of the top. So in this particular tutorial, we'll be concentrating on the collar. Yes. So the first thing we're going to do is to get a fresh pattern paper, and we're going to be marking out a reference point from the edge. So you can mark about 1 inch for the reference point at the edge of the pattern paper. So guys, now I'm done with the reference line. So the next thing I'm going to do is to place my previously drafted pattern on the fresh pattern paper. Then I'm going to use my pin to fasten that to keep it in place before I move ahead. So I'm doing that right now. I'm using my pin to fasten the pattern papers together to avoid moving so much. So that's done. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to work on the neck. So guys, I would like us to pay keen attention because this particular tutorial can be a bit confusing, but if you pay close attention, you get it just as soon as possible. So guys, I had to zoom in to make it a little bit clearer. So at this point, this is how my front pattern is. So the neck is about 3 inch wide and about 1 inch deep. Please do not make it more than 3 inch wide. You can make it about 2.5, but let it not be more than 3 inch wide. Then I'm going to modify that and make the depth as deep as I want. It depends on you. If you want the neck to be high, if you want the neck to be low, however it is you want it to be, just make your mark. For me, it was about around 8.5 inches deep. So I use my pen to mark that out. Then I use my French curve to carve it out. So that's what I'm doing right now. So at this point, the neckline is about 3 inch wide and about 8.5 inch deep. It totally depends on you. You know how deep you want your neckline to be, so just mark that out. But I want to advise you go beyond 3 inch wide for the neck width. So guys, now we are done with the neck width and depth, and we have marked that out. So the next thing we are going to be doing is to rule a straight line connecting these 2 cardinal points, then extending the line. Watch where I'm starting from the neck depth to where the neck width ends. Then I'm going to extend that line straight out. I don't know if that makes sense. From the point where the neck depth stops to where the neck width stops, then I'm going to go straight up, no corners at all, just very straight up. So when I'm done with that, I'm going to bring back my back pattern. Then I'll use my tape to measure from the beginning to the end of the neckline. I'm going to be using my tape for flexibility's sake and for accuracy's sake. If I use my ruler is more rigid, so my tape will give me more accuracy. So when I'm done taking the measurements, I'll transfer that exact measurement from the tip of the neck down the line. And whatever it is, I'm going to be making my marking along that line. For this case, it was about 5 inches, so I made my mark along the line. Secondly, I determined how high do I want my high neck to be. Swan necks are usually higher than the normal neck, so determine how high you want it to be. If you want it to be very high, then it's up to you. You can make it about probably from 3 inches or so. If you want it to be just the normal size or a bit low, you can go for about 1 inch or so. So whatever it is, just make your mark, then connect those dots together in a straight line. When you're done connecting it together, I'm going to be extending my neckline to join that other line I made. So from the point where they intersect, I'm going to transfer that neck length I took from the back, the one I placed in the first place. I'm going to transfer it to this second place, but the only difference is that I'm going to be adding 1/2 inch allowance. So guys, this is to make the neck relax properly. So when I add that, the next thing I'm going to do is to use my French curve to join where the line is to where my neck depth ends. I repeat, I'm going to use my French curve to connect that line together to give it kind of a curve. It's not really cast on stone. Even if you don't want to go with this particular neckline, you can just modify the way you like. For instance, myself, I did not go with this at the end of the day. I noticed it was too high for me and it was too close up. So I later on along the process made the neck wider. But this particular one you're seeing here is exactly what you see at the beginning of the video. No minus, no plus. This is exactly what I'm drafting right now. So now I use my marker to make that clearer. Then when I was done using my marker to make that clearer, the next thing I did was to add about 1/2 inch allowance on the right and the left side, or should I say the front and the back side of this new neckline I just made right now. So I'm doing that right now. I'm using my pen to rule that out from the back side. Then I went ahead to do the same thing on this front side. So I just added about 1/2 inch or even less because I didn't need so much sewing allowance. So I also used my French curve to carve out the curved side. So guys, when I was done, I used my marker to make that clearer. If you notice, I did not add an allowance at the tip of the neck because the zip allowance already accounts for that. So guys, I also added a little bit of an allowance at the shoulder because I didn't add that initially when I was drafting the basic bodice. So I did that right now. So now guys, I'm done adding the allowance roundabout. So I'm going to be cutting that out. I know some of you will be wondering, why did she take away the side piece? This is because in this tutorial I was doing a princess dart together, so I didn't have to repeat the side piece because there was no modification to the side piece. The only modification was on the front, or will I say the center piece of the top. So guys, I am cutting out that midpoint right now for you guys to see. So I'm cutting that round about, and you guys are going to see the results when I'm done, guys. So guys, now we are done cutting that roundabout. I'll be spreading that apart for you guys to see. Then I'll be taking away my pin so that you can see what the main piece looks like. So guys, this is the basics for the built up neck or the swan neck. So guys, at this point you would like to check if you made a mistake or not. So how you know that is to place your back pattern on this point, and if the shoulders are lined properly, if they are equal, then you should know that you are on point. But if they are not equal, that means you must have made a mistake during the process of drafting or cutting. Then after checking the shoulders, you can also check if the neckline and the long part you drafted out are properly aligned. If they are also equal and aligned, then know that you did not make a mistake. So guys, that being said, that is actually what it takes to draft the swan neck or built up neck. But because I love you guys, I'll be adding a little bit of an extra information. So guys, if you want your built up neck to be standing, or if you want it to be firm or structured, I'd advise you add your fusible interfacing, which is popularly called the paper stay. It actually comes in a very stiff form, not so stiff, it just looks like paper. So what you're going to do here is to take your paper stay or fusible interfacing, whichever one you call it, place it on your pattern. I would have folded it, but if I fold it I won't be able to trace out the pattern. So when you place it on it, you can use your pen or your marker, then you can rule out, just follow the line and mark out the pattern for the neck. Just mark that out round about. Then when you're done marking that out round about, then you can use your marker to make that clearer. I did that because I just wanted you guys to see what I'm doing, but for you, you can skip this stage. So when you're done marking that out, this is what it should look like. Then I'll be folding that into two because I need 2 pieces of this for the right hand side of the top and for the left hand side of the front piece. So this will just add structure and firmness to your high neck. If you don't want to achieve this, then it's fine, just skip this part. But if you want your high neck to be structured or to be standing or firm, then I would advise you use this fusible interfacing. It usually looks like paper. Some people call it paper stay or hay stay, so whatever it is it's called in your side, just do what suits you. So guys, that's what it looks like when we are done. So the next thing we're going to do now is to place our pattern on fabric and cut that out. In this case, you notice I folded my fabric into 2, like there are 4 pieces of the fabric. The reason for this is because I wanted to use same fabric for the front and the back. Like I didn't have a separate facing, or would I say lining. This was what the fabric was, what I used for the front and the back. But in the case where you're going to be adding a different lining or facing, I would advise you just fold your piece into your fabric into 2 and not into 4. So guys, when I was done, I used my pin to fasten everything together. So when I was done fastening it together, then I used my scissors to go around the pattern. So I hope this makes sense. As I said earlier, the reason why I folded into 4 was because I wanted to use same fabric for both the lining and the front part, or would I say the main part. And I know you'll be wondering why. So here's the reason, guys. Most of the times when you try to make a stretchy fabric, for example your crepe fabric, it's usually difficult to find a suitable interfacing or a suitable lining to suit the stretchiness of the fabric. I don't know if that makes sense, because for example the crepe fabric stretches on both sides, both lengthwise and widthwise. It stretches in every direction, so it's usually difficult to find a fabric that stretches the same way. So if you're going to line it properly and avoid any form of issues along the line, it's best you find the appropriate lining. So in a case where I don't find, I usually use the same material for both the front and the back. I hope that makes sense. So guys, we're still in the cutting process, so I'm going to be cutting that around about. It wasn't so easy to cut out because they were about 4 in 1, but guys, we did it. We went through that roundabout. So guys, I hope this tutorial wasn't so complicated or so difficult to understand. In case it was, I would like you to leave us a comment explaining your difficulties, then would give you an explanation to clear every misunderstanding. So that said, I guess this will bring us to the end of this lovely tutorial. I'm sure you learned a lot from this particular tutorial, and I would like you to give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, share, and also invite your friends. This is an encouragement for us to do more and to bring more quality content your way, guys. So guys, I think that's all. So I'll be taking away the pin and I'll be showing you guys the final result. But before that, I'll be trimming off every part I feel is still a bit irregular. So guys, once again, this is the end of the tutorial and this is what our final look is.